Hello, I'm the Tabletop Optimist, and in this video, I will be telling you what the Plotweaver TTRPG is, how it works, what you need, and a whole bunch of other fun stuff to get you ready to playtest this amazing game. Just a heads up though, there will be certain parts that I will go into more detail on in a future video because if I didn't, this video would be 2+ hours long and nobody wants that. Now, this game is currently in open alpha at the time of making this video, even though the open alpha hasn't released yet. That's not the point. So, of course, things will change over time, but most of this is just standard information to get you started and comfortable playing the game. So, if you want to learn more in depth information on this game, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video so that way you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. Now, onto the game. What is Plotweaver? Plotweaver is a narrative first D20 based TTRPG, also known as tabletop role playing game, developed by Brotherwise Games, who also developed the Cosmere RPG. In this game, you'll make characters to play, go on amazing adventures, and fight evil, most of the time, across a variety of settings that you wish to play in. Whether it be fantasy, sci fi, or a modern day setting taking place on our Earth where magic has returned. Now, let's start off with what you and the rest of the table will be doing when you play. First off, how many people do you need at the table? A typical table makeup is 1 GM and 3 to 6 players, with 4 players being the sweet spot recommended by the developers. But that isn't completely necessary. You can definitely have more or less players, but that could make balancing a little bit more difficult, so I would recommend with sticking to 3 to 6 players for your first go of it. Next, what are the roles at the table? A player is the person playing the game as a singular character. You will create your character based on path, ancestry, looks, voice, and who they are. A little advice though, you don't need to go too deep into character creation if you aren't comfortable with it. All you need is to build your character, come up with what you want their obstacles, purpose, and goals to be, and go from there as your character will naturally develop through the play of the game. Like I said, you don't need to go too deep into character creation. Your character can look just like you and have your voice. Nobody worth playing with is going to give you trouble for not going as deep into character creation as others do. Throughout the game, your character will be presented with challenges that will require you to use your skills filled out on your character sheet. You will use the d20 plus the skill modifier to determine your result, and your GM will let you know if you succeed or fail, meaning if you hit the difficulty class, or better known as the DC. I will be making a video on filling out your character sheet very soon, so make sure to keep an eye on the channel for that. The next role is the GM, also known as the Game Master. The GM is the role where you will describe the world the players are playing in, you will control the NPCs, also known as non-playable characters, you will mediate the rules and describe the scenes the players are in. Of course, always feel free to ask players questions to help tell the story. If you are in a tavern, ask the players, what does the tavern look like? Doing this allows it to be more of a collaborative game and honestly takes some of the pressure off of you if you did not plan this tavern ahead of time. Now that you have your table and you figured out who the GM is and who the players are, what do you need to actually play the game? First thing you will need is the book. But honestly, not everyone needs the book. Since this is an open alpha, there is currently no book, but everything you need can be downloaded at the link provided below. You will need a character sheet, whether it is paper or digital. If you have a paper character sheet, make sure to also bring a pencil and eraser, because throughout the game, you'll be making adjustments to that character sheet. You will also need a set of dice for when events are uncertain and your GM requests you to roll to determine what happens. But also, there are free digital assets for dice as well, but having physical dice is amazing and you can never have too many. You will also need to go over the safety tools. Safety tools are a list of things you and your players want to see and want to avoid in game. Starting the session and campaign off on the right foot and abiding by what your players are comfortable with really helps turn a good game into an amazing game. Check the link also in the description to find some amazing resources for safety tools. Like I mentioned previously, you will need some dice. Now, of course, what dice do you need? In TTRPGs, we use a shorthand for dice known as D and the number of sides that it has. There's a D20, 12, 10, 8, 6, and 4. All the other dice, aside from the plot die and d20, are used for damage determination, skills of certain classes, recovery, and more. The plot die is a six-sided die unique to this game. It has three results: an opportunity that helps your character, a blank that doesn't add or take anything away, and a complication that helps the GM. One of the best parts about the plot die is that you don't even need a special die, even though I recommend them because they are pretty awesome. But you could just grab a d6 and go by these results. 1 to 2 is a complication, 3 to 4 is blank, and 5 to 6 is opportunity. If you want to learn more about the plot die, check out my previous video going over the plot die and how amazing it is. Now that you know what you need prior to playing, how will a game typically go? The GM describes the scene. You tell the GM what you want your character to do in reaction to that scene. Your GM will then ask you to make a skill test if the results of the scene are uncertain. Once you make the appropriate test, the GM will tell you what happened in result to that test and your decisions. Now, even though that this game is narrative focused, that does not mean that combat is a second thought. Brotherwise has developed a really cool system on how combat works in their games. This is a typical round in combat and it determines who goes when. The first part is you will decide if you want to take a fast or slow turn. Fast turns generate 2 actions and slow turns generate 3. The order is fast PC, fast NPC, slow PC, and slow NPC. This is an excellent way to make combat less stagnant, and you can choose fast or slow at the start of every round, allowing a sort of on the fly decision making in combat and adjusting to what will work best for you and your party. Like I said, I don't know how many times before, I'll be making a video that goes more in depth on combat, so keep an eye on the channel for that future video as well. Now, I know this may sound like a lot, but trust me, it isn't as hard as it sounds, and you are going to do a great job. What aspect of this game are you most excited for? Is there any specific topic that you want me to cover in a future video? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Keep that glass half full, and have a great next game. See you later.